calling all Jedi wannabes and financial whizzes. Our next guest is Spiro Mensas, the founder and CEO of Hijojo Partners, a company that's launching fintech startups into the stratosphere just like Spiro himself. He traded in his suit for a metaphorical lightsaber when he ditched the world of program trading to become a guide for startups and investors in the fintech galaxy. May the ROI be with you. But Spiro isn't just another space cowboy. Hijojo Partners is a fully licensed financial institution backed by the big names in Japan's financial world. They've launched over 50 targeted funds, helped companies like SpaceX and Epic Games blast off with over 30 billion yen in investments. And guess what? Spiro claims Elon Musk even played a role in his journey. In his talk, How Elon Musk Helped Me Launch My Startup, Spiro shares the secrets of navigating the fintech frontier. Here he is.
Okay, so with the intro, I'm Spiro Mensas. I'm the founder of Hijojo Partners. I'm half Greek, half Japanese. And let's try my first picture. Okay, so that's my Greek side at the Parthenon. So being and brought up in Kobe, compared to other founders here, some of them are trilingual and quadrilingual and so forth. I'm bilingual. My Japanese side is Kansai-ben, so it's kote-kote no Kansai-ben, if anyone gets it. So it's a little bit unique, not the regular Japanese. But went to an international school all the way. And I ended up at Columbia University in New York. And I spent my 4 years doing engineering. So I was more on the geeky side, the boring side. But what really sparked me was at Columbia, I met so many entrepreneurs. Not some of them just thinking of ideas, thinking of change, thinking of doing something exciting. But being the kind of traditional route, I thought going to a good college and getting a good job was the way to go. So basically, upon graduation, I moved on to a company called Salomon Brothers, financial institution, now Citigroup. But before moving on, one of my really close friends, he began a nail polish company, and this was like 30 years back, with nail polish like pink ones and light green ones, black ones, all different colors. Back then was very unique. And he wanted me to run the operations in Japan. And back then I thought, nail polish company versus a top financial institution. And right away I basically took the top financial institution. But I definitely regretted after that. He successfully exited and so forth, so I didn't see the big picture. But it wasn't really the success part, but doing something really fun. But anyways, I moved on to finance, and at Salomon, the first year or 2 years, I was on the engineering side. So I was an IT programmer, building systems, really a tech guy. But I was very amazed with the whole finance side, so stock trading and so forth. So I decided to kind of take on dual roles. So in the morning, around 7:30, I would go to the trading floor. Up until 4 or 4:30, I would be learning on trading, buying and selling. And then from 5 p.m. to midnight, I'll go back to the IT department and do the programming. So, literally doing dual roles. And after a year or so, one of my immediate bosses on the IT side said, if you can't commit fully to the IT side, we can't hire you. So I was like, okay, am I fired? And he said, no, you just have to figure out. So I went on to the trading side, told my boss, this is what happened. And he was actually happy to take me in. So my career began on the trading side. And we built, back then in IT, I was building systems on program trading, which was, buying and selling hundreds of stocks, hundreds of millions of dollars. So with doing that, I was basically the user of the system I built and traded lots of portfolios, hundreds of millions of dollars every day, which was fun and exciting, but it kind of got to me. It was pretty repetitive, and I thought, okay, what is more to it? the daily life, getting paid, that was fine, but I really wanted that spark. And then I recalled back in the college days when I turned down my friend's startup. Back then I thought I wanted to go independent when I was 30. So when I was 29, back at Salmon, I basically left the company. And I told my boss I want to leave, I'm burnt out. So this was kind of like my first midlife crisis. And I had a few choices, and one of them was basically to run a Greek restaurant. So basically, I left Salmon. The following week, I went to Greece, so kind of, going to my Greek heritage. Spent 3 months in Greece, going to wineries, cheese factories, figuring something out. And 3 months later, I opened up my Greek restaurant, Spiro's, in Omotesando, the first one. And the following year was the Athens Olympics. So we got a lot of attention from media, TV stations, magazines, radios, and was fortunately enough to open up my second one in Roppongi. So I had 2 Greek restaurants in Tokyo. But running restaurant is a really tough job. And back then there were 3 Greek restaurants, so I owned 2 of them. So in a way it was monopoly. But I wasn't really fighting with the other Greek restaurant. It was versus all the restaurants out there, whether it's Chinese food, Japanese food. And so, it was very fun running your own restaurants and all your friends coming over and hanging out with them. But I thought it's really hard to scale because it was such a niche market, niche sector doing Greek restaurant. So during the day, what I was doing was I kind of started doing the deal role again. So I started consulting at different financial institutions, and one of them was actually Mizuho Securities. So let's say around 8 or 8:30, I would go to Mizuho doing consulting, and at 5 p.m., I'll leave Mizuho, come back to the restaurant, and hang out with my friends and serve, and work till midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then go back to Mizuho again. So I was doing this for about 3 or 4 years. So a total of about 7 years I was running the restaurant, and then got married and had kids, so the whole work-life balance didn't work out anymore. So then I returned to Mizuho, and picture at Mizuho is this one. The gentleman second to the left, actually it's not Elon Musk, it's Michael Bloomberg. So he's actually, ex-Salmon as well, and we had some relations. So, he was generous enough to visit the office. And so during the Mizuho days, I was running equities. So when I was 38, I had about 300 people reporting into me. And I was in charge of offices, not just in Japan, but US, UK, Hong Kong, Singapore. So it was, again, a big role, finance, back to where I was in my 20s. And was basically running operations for about almost 8 years, and 9 or 10 including my consulting days. But, again, this, second midlife crisis, again, hit me. So, doing management and finance, that was good, but I was, going back in my Greek restaurant days, I was thinking, well, what is really gonna excite me? And, very interesting thing when I was looking around was actually Elon Musk's SpaceX. And I was really fascinated by what they were doing. And what really amazed me was the rocket launching and then landing on its own. This was basically the first time mankind ever done. Whether it's NASA or Russian government or Chinese government, never have done that. And so obviously SpaceX back then and currently they're private companies. So I thought, it's gonna be so exciting if we can invest into a company like SpaceX. So I scrambled around, talked to my friends in US, all over the place, and finally I was able to source someone who was gonna be willing to sell shares, SpaceX shares. But the minimum tranche was $5 million, and I had to wire in 3 days. So $5 million in cash in 3 days. I thought, okay, that's actually not so easy. So I had to turn down the offer. But my friend called me back the other day and said, I diced it up into smaller pieces. So I thought, okay, I'm definitely interested now. But the diced up amount was $2.5 million. And it was 1 day less, so it was 2 days later. So I thought about selling real estate, the buildings I own and so forth, but obviously can't do that in 2 days. So again, I had to turn that down. And so again, that was really tough for me. Such a passion I had. I wanted to invest in SpaceX, but the amount was too big. But a lot of my friends, they were all like, "Oh, I'm happy to chip in $50,000 or $100,000." And I thought, okay, this can be a really good business. Then this can be scalable. So the following year, we founded Hijojo Partners. So this is picture back then in 2018. So right after I launched Hijojo Partners, we were able to get seed capital from companies like Credit Saison, and following that from Mizuho Securities, Mitsubishi UFJ Bank, SBI Securities, and a lot others, and Monex Securities as well. So what we did is we basically so-called democratized trading. So instead of having chunks of 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, we would make it smaller ticket size. So it's much easier for people to invest. And we've had a few exits. Some of the companies went public. So, success here, success there, failure here, failure there. And in 2020, and approaching 21, we were finally able to invest in SpaceX. So after 10 or so SPVs, we're finally able to invest in SpaceX. So I was really happy. My investors were all happy, and that was all good. And about a year later, I wake up, and in my iPhone, there were so many messages, I couldn't look at my work emails. And all these messages were basically LinkedIn friend requests. So I was like, why do I have and this wasn't like 10 or 20. This was like 700, 800 within a matter of 6 or 7 hours. So I thought, what happened? Why am I so famous all of a sudden? And then I noticed there was a Bloomberg article. And if you see this, it says Elon Musk's $251 billion fortune increasingly hinges on SpaceX. So this is right when Elon Musk became the world's richest man. And this article came out. And it says Elon Musk is counting on investors like Spirit and Menzies to cement his position as the world's richest person. And this whole article about how I struggled and joined Mizuho, and then I get this idea, and this full article about myself. So now I know, okay, that's why I have so many friend requests. And obviously, more and more people wanted to buy into my SpaceX fund. Unfortunately, I used up all my 10 minutes and probably did 11 or 12. Sorry about that. But, I wanted to explain my story and how I got here where I am. And for sure, my next goal is to actually meet Elon Musk in person, shake his hands, and say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity now that, we're able to become investors of SpaceX. Thank you very much.